Good morning, XRP Army. Welcome back to the channel. It is a savory Sunday morning, and I have a lot of information to cover, so I'm not going to waste too much time. But first, as always, if this is your first time, be sure to kick back and relax and enjoy the video. But if this is your second time, it's time for payment. Be sure to hit subscribe, smash the like button, and leave a comment. Let me know you are here. I appreciate every single one of you. I hope the new format is working well for you and you guys enjoy it. But let's go ahead and hop into the video. So first, I'm going to start off with a little bit of price action as I do every single day. So we're going to go ahead and start with this. So let me hop into the price action here. So as you can see, this is where we started right back here. When I first started tracing my chart for you all, we had our wedge, we broke out of the wedge, came back, tapped 243 and shot all the way up to 255. At that point, I was predicting 260. And then we came back down. I said it was going to reload in this area. And since then, you can see we have shot all the way up. It's been a good weekend for us. We've shot all the way up. We tapped 266, and now we are hovering right around 263. I think this is our next form of resistance, but we are definitely following this channel. 270 is going to be, once we flip 265, 270 is going to be the next one. And if we can pass 270, $3 is next, which is what's leading me into this. There's a reason for the chart analysis. It ties into everything because it's all about timing, right? Everyone wants to know when. It's no longer, and let's talk about this narrative shift. Hang on a second. Let me get out of here. So the thing that's most exciting for me with XRP over the last week is the narrative shift. And what do I mean by that? The question is no longer if XRP is going to do something. The question is no longer if XRP is going to be adopted. People are starting to believe it. The question has shifted to if, to when and how much. Everyone, this is the question. Everyone wants to know, okay, well, when's it going to do something and how much and how high is it going to go to? To give you an example of the sentiment change, as I said before in a previous video, I go to a grocery store and mention XRP and people look at me like I have 7 heads. I was at the grocery store the other day and I have an XRP sticker on the back of my car. And someone approached me and they're like, "Hey, can you tell me about XRP? I've been hearing a lot about that." In the parking lot of a grocery store, just random. And then my daughter's friend was over here yesterday, and her dad came to pick her up, and he came into my recording area because his daughter mentioned that I do crypto stuff, and apparently he's interested in crypto. So he comes into my recording area and sees the XRP stuff and starts. He acted like I have the keys to the kingdom. He was just fiending for information. So like the sentiment around XRP is massively changing, which I think is huge. I think that is the kicker, and to me that's the symbol that this is about to go. When regular people who have been ignoring crypto for a decade start asking you for information, then we're getting somewhere. But let's go ahead and hop into this next episode. So we can see here, price has been moving great for us. Let me pop in here. Price has been moving great for us. We're sitting around 263.7, so right around 264. I'm expecting a push to 270 today. If we fail to cap over this, it could continue back down to 250. But looking at RSI, if we zoom in closer, what's RSI at? RSI is at 45 right now, so I'm not expecting much more of a sell-off from where we are now. I think we might bounce off this channel and shoot straight up. But we'll find out in a few hours. Typically, in a few hours, every once in a while, I'll post a video and see where we're at here. People don't like it when I'm right. For some reason, I've noticed that. So I might not do that anymore. Let me know what you guys think in comments. Do you like the price action? Do you not want to know the price action? Let me know. I think it's important, but that's just me. I also follow both daily and the overall flow of XRP here. So moving on. So everyone wants to know when and how much. That's what everyone wants to know. Well, I'm going to give you my answer and I'm going to explain why. I think December is when this thing is going to skyrocket. And here's why. ISO 20022 plus everything else that's going on. And I'm going to formulate my concept here for you. So I told you when I think it's going to happen this December, but next, stick around. I'm going to tell you how much. So we've gathered key updates, answers for your frequently asked questions on ISO 20022. I think most of you are familiar with this messaging system at this point, but it becomes mandatory on November 22nd. They rolled it out in July 14th. So this becomes mandatory on November 22nd. This is the default messaging system that banks must use. XRP is ISO 20022 compliant. As it sits right now, I don't think it says it in here, but I saw something probably about 2 weeks ago that said most of the banks are at 90% right now as far as the ability to go on ISO 20022. But this is going to be the standard messaging system, and this is going to be very, very important. This is going to force banks to use the updated messaging standards that they haven't been forced to use up until this point. It becomes mandatory. So this is going to be important. We might see a big shift here. And again, this is at the end of November. We also have Ripple Swell at the beginning of November. The White House is going to be there. There are talks of the trade talks being figured out right now. If that happens in beginning of November, everything's lining up for stuff to happen in November. And I think that's going to light the fuse for the explosion. Excuse me, I hit my desk. I think that's going to light the fuse for the explosion in December into Q1. I think is when we're going to really, really see the pump, just because of the stalls with the government shutdown, the China talks. There's a lot of macro stuff going on, but with the Russian oil sanctions. Sorry, I'm leaving this one document up here. I'm not used to this, guys. But with the Russian oil sanctions and everything going on, that could help unwind the reverse carry trade. So if we have, pressure from Japan, pressure from ETFs, pressure from ISO 20022, all going live in November, it's like a perfect storm. And here's the thing, the price won't rise until the pipes start flowing, right? In order for the price to go, the money has to flow, period. That's how XRP works. For the price to go, money has to flow. Remember it. But speaking of XRP ETFs and why this is going to be such a huge point to the liquidity. So in order for them to use the liquidity as it is designed, the price needs to be higher. A lot of people have discussed this, okay? This is an older article. This is back from September 19th. But this was talking about the inflows of the XRP ETFs at its first day. So notably, the total exchange inflows recorded on Thursday, the day the US XRP went live, reached a massive 11.57 million XRP. This marks a substantial increase from 1.34 million XRP inflows recorded the previous day. So as soon as the first XRP ETF went live, the first one, we had $11.57 million of inflows on the first day versus the previous day of 1.34 million of inflows. That's one off-brand, essentially, XRP ETF. We have 20 slated to launch, okay? And don't listen to me, okay? Let's listen to the CEO of Canary Capital and see what he has to say about the ETFs. Again, this is an older interview, but again, I think this is really important.
So why would you buy an ETF if you can get a yield on top of your token somewhere else? It just doesn't make any sense.
Yeah, for sure.
And since XRP doesn't offer that, then it doesn't matter whether it's on an exchange, whether it's in an ETF or not. You're not losing out on anything. So that's reason number one. Number two, I just mentioned it's really the category leader. So the category leaders that people can understand are gonna make a lot more sense. Whereas ETH has a lot more competition in its category. XRP has very little. So people are going to see that as the clear leader. It's done a lot to keep the technology upgraded, continue to move forward, to remain the leader. So I think that's really that's really that. And then really the third point here is the demand and the community and the number of people that are following this thing. So look, I think XRP's $5 billion the first month across the board. So we'll see how that goes, but I believe out of the gate it's definitely gonna outperform what ETH did out of the gate.
There you have it. He's saying at least $5 billion of inflows in the first month, and $5 billion of inflows in the first month, and that it's going to make ETH look ridiculous because they think it's going to vastly outperform ETH because of the staking options available for ETH. There's no point in buying an ETF when you can just go buy the ETH itself and stake it. XRP has a different holding potential. So what does everyone want to know, right? Everyone wants to know when and how much is XRP going to be worth. I believe, my opinion, not financial advice, based on all of this information, me personally, I believe that the government is going to reopen at the beginning of November. So here within a week, my opinion, I think we're going to reopen in a week, right before Ripple Swell. So I think in the first week of November, we're going to have ETFs. We're going to have Ripple Swell. We're going to have major announcements for Ripple. And I think that this price action we're seeing now is the load up before the explosion. Me personally, not financial advice. This has been coiling and waiting for years. Okay. People are fiending. The demand is there, and the banks and institutional adoption is happening. It is all lining up. And that's why there is so much excitement around XRP. There is I haven't felt this much excitement around XRP since the court case concluded. Um, was the last time I saw like this many people like talking about it and wanting and craving information, and it kind of dissipated. But now, like, seriously, just ask some random person, educate, okay? Help people out. I know it's weird because people, when you start talking about crypto, you kind of keep it to yourself because people look at you like you're crazy. Most people don't want to understand. They don't want to understand it. And they're intentionally putting their head in the sand with what is happening, and it's just gonna pass them by, and it's really, really sad. One of the reasons why I started YouTube, because I wanted to come out here and share the information and try to help as many people as possible. And I know I may sound crazy, but I do think that like this is a major financial shift that we will never again see in our lifetime. We didn't see it in the previous lifetime, and we're probably not going to see it in the next lifetime. This is like a once in a generation opportunity, I believe. Again, my opinion, not financial advice, but that is why I'm here for the long term. That is why I'm holding my bags. That is why I am on here beating a desk, talking to you guys about every single thing that happens, because I see the tea leaves. I can read the tea leaves. I see the dots connecting. I see the dominoes lining up, ready to fall. And to me, it's screaming November, December. I mean, can you tell me why I'm wrong? Tell me why I'm wrong. With all the positive news, the ETFs, the government reopening, the possible reverse carrier trade with the oil sanctions, the massive amount of acquisitions and adoption that Ripple's having. I want someone to talk me out of it. Let me know in comments. Please talk me out of it. I feel like I'm crazy. I feel like I should not be this gung-ho on one thing, but I cannot see a light in which it doesn't succeed, considering how much money is invested and how many connections it has. Let me know in comments, please. I want someone to prove me wrong. Remember I told you I had memory loss issues from time to time, guys? I did this whole video and forgot to tell you my price prediction. I'm glad I caught it while I was editing. I could slide it back in there for you. So my price prediction is by the end of the year for XRP to be roughly $25. Beyond that, I think Q1, Q2, as adoption fully ramps up and we have more tokenizations and assets and more value going to the XRP ledger and more money starting to flow. Remember, in order for the price to go, money has to flow. I think as soon as all that happens at the end of Q1, probably beginning to mid Q2, somewhere in that time frame, I think is when we have the potential to see triple digits. But I see $25 by end of year, my opinion, not financial advice. All right. Again, if you were here, like, subscribe, comment. I appreciate every single one of you, and I'll see you on the next video. Later.